So okay, let's talk about how to get a job in CDFI industry with your urban planning degree. I was a senior financial analyst at Elise, local initiative support corporation, from 2017 to 2020. So I think my industry knowledge is still up to date. So what is CDFI? CDFI stands for Community Development Financial Institution, and basically it is a non-profit bank who lends some money to CDC. Then what is CDC? It's a Community Development Corporation. Basically, it's a non-profit organization in your neighborhood or in your city that develops affordable housing or charter school and community health center. So CDC needs some money to develop that kind of community project, and then CDC comes to CDFI to borrow some money and pay back later after the project is done or operational. So how CDFI got their money before they lend some money to CDC? Is CDFI lending its own money? No freaking way. CDFI is borrowing money from big banks like Chase, BOA, TD Bank, Wells Fargo, and so on and so forth. And CDFI is re-lending that money to CDC. So CDFI is borrowing money from big banks at very low interest rate, like somewhere between 0 to 2%, and then re-lend it to CDC at 5% or 6%. So CDFI is self-sustaining using the spread between those two rates. So why in any case that big bank ever wants to lend out some money at 2%? I mean, not even in your dream world, you not get any money from the bank at 1% or 2%, but CDFI still can get that cheap rate because of CRA. So what is CRA? It is Community Reinvestment Act. With that regulation, the bank is now under obligation to reinvest their profit into the community where they have some branches. But they don't know nothing about the community. So on behalf of big banks, CDFI, they came in as an intermediary and then find a good community project to invest. So by lending some money to CDFI at cheap rate, bank is gonna get some sort of CRA credit so they can stay compliant with CRA. This explanation is very, very simplified, but I don't wanna go into too much details. But if you are interested in learning more about CDFI and CRA, then you can read this white paper produced by my ex-boss. I will put the link in the description. So let's talk about how to actually get a job in CDFI industry. And in order for us to do that, we gotta talk about the type of CDFIs first. So first of all, we can categorize CDFIs by the geography they serve. So some of CDFIs have national coverage, meaning that they are investing everywhere in the country. Rural, inner city, suburb, tribal community, like all over the places. So those national guys, for example, are LISC, Local Initiative Support Corporation, Enterprise Community Partners, Capital Impact Partners, Low Income Investment Fund, and NFF, Nonprofit Finance Fund. And there are also some CDFIs who only invest in certain region, like IFF or Sinair for Midwest, Craft 3 for Pacific Northwest. Lastly, there are some CDFIs that only invest in certain city or even certain neighborhood. So Chicago Community Loan Fund for Chicago, as the name suggests, and Asian American for Equality, they are in New York City, and they mainly covers Asian or Latino neighborhoods in New York City. So when it comes to getting a job, I think this geographic factor is the most important because it literally dictates where you live. So the best way to figure out that which CDFI covers which geography is you go to this website, ofn.org. Again, I will put the link in the description. OFN is an industry organization, so almost all CDFIs are members of OFN. And they have this thing, CDFI Locator, in their website. So with that, you can search CDFI by the area coverage. By the way, OFN is about to host an annual conference. I think it's free for students. So I will put that link down below as well. So you gotta check it out and see if you can go there and do some networking. So in addition to OFN CDFI Locator, so every state highly probably has some sort of state CDFI coalition kind of thing. For example, there is New York State CDFI Coalition, and likewise, your home state would have their own state CDFI coalition. So you go that website and check out their member list so that you can see like how many CDFIs in your state. So we just talk about geography as one of the categorization method for CDFI, and now we can categorize CDFI by project type. So some CDFIs, they finance any kinds of project like housing, charter school, community center, and community health center, small businesses, and even like not only for physical project, but also for working capital for CDC's daily operation. And there are many CDFIs also only doing specific project, the CSH, the Corporation for Supportive Housing, CSH, they are only doing rental housing for homeless. And Civic Builders, they are only financing charter school project, where I'm now suddenly blanking out if they are certified CDFI or not, but who cares? And PCDC, Primary Care Development Corporation, PCDC, they are a CDFI for community health center. And Nonprofit Finance Fund, NFF, they have some financing or consulting specialty, especially for capacity building for CDCs. And lastly, ICA, they are only making business loans in Bay Area. So if you have your own personal interest in certain sector, then you may want to go for a CDFI whose project and whose mission is aligned with your personal interest. And also, even though the strict definition of CDFI is just a loan fund, which just makes a loan or investment, but a lot of CDFIs actually are doing some programmatic initiative beyond just making a loan. So when they make a loan to some CDC and its project, they would simultaneously provide some additional technical assistance or capacity building grants to double down or to maximize to future impact of the project. So if you want to experience not only finance, but also programmatic side of community development, you should choose to go to CDFI with some programmatic capability or programmatic arms, not just pure loan fund guys. So we just talked about project type as one of the categorization method for CDFI. And now, lastly, we can also categorize CDFIs by the loan product that it offers. So CDFI can make many different kinds of loan. For example, pre-development loan for the community project in early stage, and construction loan to take out that pre-dev loan and move the project into construction phase, and mini-perm or permanent loan for the project in operational stage. Also, CDFI can make a bridge loan for the borrower who is waiting for permanent financing or waiting for any kind of governmental grant or receivables or tax credit equity or whatever. Anything can be bridgeable by CDFI. And CDFI also can make some working capital loan or business loan for CDC or small businesses for their day-to-day operation. And this ability to make certain kind of loan is really tied to how a CDFI capitalize itself. So like I told you, CDFI borrows a money from CRA motivated big banks, and usually CDFI has to pay their money back after 3 or 5 months. And for CDFI to pay back this money to the bank, the CDC, the borrower, has to pay back the money to CDFI first. So if CDFI has to pay back the money to the bank after 3-5 years, then the CDFI cannot make a loan to CDC that is longer than 3 or 5 years. That is asset and liability matching. So if a CDFI only has money from CRA motivated bank, then they would never be able to make a permanent financing to CDC, because in most cases, the term of permanent loan is more than 15 years. So to address this issue, big CDFIs, they are now trying to be really creative and trying to stop relying on only CRA motivated banks. They really want to diversify their capital strategies. Now they are issuing bonds, investor notes that has longer maturity, or they are trying to tap the money market to reach out to long-term investors who have some sort of like socially conscious mindset. Or the CDFI fund, the regulator of CDFI, they now have this kind of new capital program, CDFI bond guarantee program. And from that program, CDFI can borrow some long-term money with like 30-year term. But all these things, like issuing bonds, issuing investor notes, going into money market brokerage, applying to CDFI bond guarantee program, all of this requires so much human capital, IT infrastructure, and tedious compliance procedure. So all in all, not many CDFIs can secure this kind of long-term capital to make a loan, to make a long-term loan to CDC. So I think this last factor, I mean the categorization by loan product, it does not matter that much as the first two. But if you are into asset management, and if you want to have some exposure to all kinds of project stages, I mean, not only construction stage, but also stabilized operational project stage, then you should pick CDFI that offers permanent loan as well as mini-perm loan too. Okay, I will stop here. Next, I will talk about pros and cons of working in CDFI industry. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you.